What is up? Welcome to No Punt Intended. It is the night before Thanksgiving. If you followed Club Fantasy for any period of time, you know this is a little bit of an off show. We normally take this week off, but a few years ago we decided we can't let you guys down. You guys tune in every week, inundate us with questions that we are more than happy to answer, and we can't let you get down before 3 games on a Thursday. That's right, 3 games on Thanksgiving, another game on Friday before we get to the main slate on Sunday. You probably already have questions in the chat for me. Why am I wasting time? Let's get into it. What is up? Welcome to No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. No Joe Zolo this week. He still takes Thanksgiving off, but Josh and I aren't going to let you down. Ryan Weiss, Josh Hudson. Josh, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Tired. Extremely freaking tired. This is what I get for trying to get in shape in the worst time of the fucking year for me.
Yep. I'm already going to get some Caesar toast and us. I should have had a drink ready for this. I don't know what I was thinking. This is like the busiest bar night of the entire year. I'm shocked you're off, Josh.
Yeah, I work tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So. But I don't work at like a traditional bar.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mine's just a restaurant. So.
And Keenan appreciating the advice in the Discord. Let's just jump into that right now. If you guys aren't in our Discord already, Josh will drop a link here for you. Completely free Discord where we help get trades done that bring Jonathan Taylor to your team, putting you in a spot to win a championship. More than happy to help, Keenan.
Love it.
All right.
I'll get that link. Give me a second.
Yeah, Josh will get the link in there. While Josh is doing that, I'll remind you, do all the things you can do to help us be a successful podcast. If you haven't subscribed already, what the hell are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that button, hit that like button, drop your comments in, do all those things. If you happen to be listening on Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button. If you feel like your question's taking a little bit to get answered, we will answer every single question on this show. If you're watching after the show is live, timestamps are going to be very helpful for you. We do some fantasy content in between answering hundreds of questions, but you can always use Super Chat over on YouTube. Get your question to the front of the line. We're more than happy to take your money, answer questions faster. Josh, let's kick this show off with news and notes, and then we'll get into some of the chat questions that are piling up already. Isaiah Pacheco is going to return at Dallas tomorrow afternoon. The Bills have signed Brandon Cooks. This guy just can't stay unemployed. To do so, they released Elijah Moore. Raheem Morris classifies Drake London as doubtful for Sunday at the Jets. The Patriots place Will Campbell on the IR. He will miss at least 4 games. Greg Auman of Fox Sports says Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin both look good at practice, or both looked fine at practice today. Dalton Kincaid did not practice today. J.J. McCarthy limited in practice today. He is in concussion protocol. Marvin Harrison did return to practice today after 2 weeks out with an appendectomy. Jackson Dart was a full participant in practice today. I believe he is out of the protocol already. Josh Jacobs goes into tomorrow's game with no designation. That is the first game tomorrow, so get Jacobs into your lineups against the Detroit Lions. Matthew Golden officially listed as questionable. Joe Burrow officially off of the IR, will start the late game tomorrow at Baltimore. For the second straight day, Devonta Smith misses practice. He is dealing with a shoulder, chest, and illness. Not good. Frank Ragnow unretiring and returning to the Lions. CJ Stroud still in the concussion protocol, but did practice in full today. And Alvin Kamara was in no practice today. So as I always do, Josh, when we look at this news, what stands out to you? I think we probably need to start with
Joe Shiesty, baby.
I think Joe Burrow coming back seems like it might be the most important storyline of the NFL.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about this, but the Bengals getting Joe Burrow back, obviously their playoff chances are extremely slim. Yeah. They have lost the last 4 straight, and they're playing a team in Baltimore who has won their last 5 after starting 1-5. 2 completely different teams right now, but obviously when you get somebody that of the magnitude of Joe Burrow back in the lineup, you give your team a sense of hope. Granted, it did not matter last year when this defense was just as bad, if not worse. And so, Burrow's going to have his hands full, plain and simple. He has a 3-6 career record in 9 games against Baltimore, but he averages 299.99 passing yards per game. He gets it done.
Josh is giving away all his good stats for his game of the week here.
Oh no, I still got stats. Don't you worry.
I've been outspoken about this. I think it's a mistake, plain and simple. He's already been hurt this season. You're not making the playoffs. I think this is stupid. I understand they have a chance. They don't have a chance. I think this is a mistake. That's just where I'll leave it.
Yeah, I get it. Sometimes you have to protect the players against themselves, but I mean, Joe Burrow said it best. He's a gamer. This is why you play the games. You know, you play to play. You don't play to, oh, you know what? We'll hold off till next year. No.
So one thing I'll give is it at least seems that the Bengals organization is doing right by their fans. Correct. Who are filling these seats to see Joe Burrow play and not Joe Flacco.
The Ravens are filling the seats because it's in.
Well, I don't mean tomorrow. I mean in general of him coming back, though. When he leaves that game injured, we'll see how that goes. Josh, when I look at the rest of this, JJ McCarthy, we're going to Max Brosmer. I know that's going to come up later in the show. We already have a question about Josh Jacobs, so let's actually start there because let me throw, who was it? Keenan up on the screen says, do we expect Jacobs to be himself or did the Packers rush him back? The fact that he goes into this game with no injury designation tells me he's ready to play football.
Yeah, the way that they were talking last week was that he probably could have played, but because of the short week, it made sense to hold him back and say, you know what, let's give you this week because if there's a chance that you can play Thursday. Yeah, it's the same thing New England did. It was a few weeks ago, I think, where they were playing on a Thursday and they
held Ramondre out.
Yeah, they held Ramondre and Kayshon Boutte out before bringing both of them back. And so this is the game within the game, so to speak, that teams will play with some of their injured stars when you're going into these short weeks. Yep. So no, I don't think that they're rushing Josh Jacobs back.
And then I'm going to go with the other person you put a special note for, Josh, and we'll get out of this section. We don't spend a lot of time on offensive linemen, but Will Campbell goes to the IR. Are we concerned about Drake May and the New England Patriots?
Well, I think you have to be, especially because when you look at fantasy points scored, Drake May has struggled the last month.
Yeah.
And we all talked about heading into this season how absolutely horrible that Patriots offensive line was. We knew that they were going to go offensive line in that draft.
Yep.
It only made sense. You drafted your top, you drafted your future at number 3 overall in 2024. Drake May showed what he needed to show last year, and he's certainly showing it this year.
Certainly.
You take the best player off of this line,
it could be a problem.
Now you're looking at Joe Burrow and the Bengals. It is what it is. So I am legitimately worried. I like it from a fantasy perspective of Drake May's now going to scramble and he's going to get us some rushing yards. But outside of that, it worries me for time purposes, the ability for the running backs to create space, getting hit behind the line of scrimmage, all the little things, especially because the Giants pass rush is good.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter may not be racking up sack numbers the way that Brian Burns is, but he is pressuring the quarterback.
He's getting the pressure, and he's also what's freeing up Brian Burns to get single teams instead of double teams.
Correct.
So,
yeah.
Now, you're absolutely right, and obviously Joe would love to see Brian Burns go out and throw a Myles Garrett game together so he can try to play a little catch-up since Joe's been all about
I don't think Joe's going to want to see that on Monday against
That's a good point. I'm an idiot. Joe's a Patriots fan. He does not want to see that. So, yeah, it's a bittersweet thing for Joe there. I think that kind of wraps up what we need to talk about the news. Drake London out, but he was out last week. Probably going to see decent Darnell Mooney again this week. I think that wraps it up, Josh. The chat is a call-in. Let's get into it. Joseph kicked off the show. Guillotine League. Is this our Guillotine League? Isn't he trying to knock Gator out of this thing?
Gator actually got knocked out last week.
Oh, there we go. Guillotine League start 2. James Cook, Javonte Williams, Travion Henderson, Josh Jacobs.
Oof. I know you love Travion this week.
Travion's the go-to for me on this one.
It's goddamn. This is tough. It really is tough. It's not Javonte. I can tell you that it's not Javonte.
Yeah, I feel like Javonte's a trap this week.
Who do the Bills play this week?
It's Buffalo at
Steelers.
Pittsburgh.
At Steelers. Okay. They should get Aaron Rodgers back.
Yep.
He's kind of been the focal point of that offense. I think I'm going to go Cook and Henderson.
That's where I would go as well.
You
know, I like to give those injured players 1 week just to see what we have.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Jacobs will be fine. Henderson has proven that he's just better than Ramondre. It is what it is. Give me Cook and Henderson.
There we go. Zach says he was thinking about this the other day, but we know Josh's team. He doesn't think he's ever heard me talk about my team. So I have a long story that I'm just going to break down to a story. My team used to be Josh's team. So I grew up in Northeast Ohio. For those who are way younger than me, which is probably most of our audience, the Cleveland Browns left. And I had no team. I grew up a Browns fan. And when the Browns were coming back, at that time, I had fallen in love with Syracuse basketball, which led to Syracuse football, which led to Donovan McNabb. And all I wanted was for the Browns to draft McNabb. I was the happiest kid in town. The Browns take Tim Couch. The Eagles take McNabb. I was a huge McNabb fan. I followed him throughout his career with the Eagles. I thought the Eagles did him dirty. So now I do not have a favorite team. I typically just root for every team that's on my fantasy team and against Aaron Rodgers at all times because I hate him. So that's how I approach football. Apparently I left Joseph on red on Discord. I do that. Oh, I do remember. I told you it's the best team in a dome. Sorry.
He wanted a little more than that, Ryan. Jeez.
Well, guess what? If the question is Brandon Aubrey, it's Brandon Aubrey, my guy.
He prefaces, who only has 3 double-digit point games this year.
He's still the kicker too, isn't he?
You follow kickers, not me.
I do. And I know Jason Myers is the kicker 1. Dicker's the kicker 2. Let me bring this up real quick. No, Aubrey is the kicker 2. The answer is Brandon Aubrey. It's consistent, and I think that's a high-scoring game. It's tied for the highest-scoring slate, over under 52.5 points. So I'm not trying to be completely facetious here.
Speaking of that game, I know Kansas City won last week, but let's be real here. They barely won that game, overtime.
And aren't they a 3.5-point favorite on the road?
They're a 3-point favorite on the road.
Yeah,
which that basically on a neutral site, they're a touchdown favorite. Yep. Are you kidding me? That is wild to me with how that offense is.
Yeah, with season. Dallas, I actually said this on the Thanksgiving episode, which sounds really weird to say on a Wednesday night. We did a special DFS episode covering the Thanksgiving slate. You can find that on our YouTube right now. That we don't have a future episode that I'm talking about. Anyway, I thought that was weird as well, Josh. Dallas just upsets Philadelphia. Kansas City gets by off the skin of their ass, and yet they're a road favorite. I found that a little wild myself.
Yeah.
So.
I took I parlayed actually Packers money line and Cowboys money line.
There you go.
On the early Thursday. It's like 5-1 odds or something like that. So
I like that. But no, in all seriousness, I do pay a lot of attention to kickers, but there are 3 names in kicking right now that I'm not fucking with. Jason Myers, Brandon Aubrey, and Cameron Dicker. Start Brandon Aubrey, you're going to be just fine. And especially in tomorrow's game, I truly do feel like, not even being facetious, I think he is the best play of this bunch.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one kicker this season that's averaging over 10 fantasy points.
So. Yeah, there you go. Quincy needs 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and 2 flex. So let's start with the running backs. Josh, he has Kamani Vidal, Kareem Hunt, Zach Charbonnet, Bashal Tootin.
So we were talking about this off air. Dallas's run defense, since the trades, the deadline, getting everybody healthy, they've played a lot
over their last 4 games
in the first half of the season.
Over their last 4 games, they give up the 4th fewest points to running backs.
And you know what? I'm still starting Kareem Hunt out of this group.
So that's what I was going to say is this
simply
group.
And I'm going to tell you 2 reasons why. 1, he is their red zone threat. I don't care that Pacheco is back. He had 30 touches last week. What has Isaiah Pacheco done for you to say, you know what? I want to take the ball out of Kareem Hunt's hands. He's done nothing this year. Nothing. We talk about it every Tuesday. Why is he even rostered? You can drop him. Kareem Hunt is their starter. But second, and I'm going to release the picks here after our show over on the Women of Fantasy Football Twitter page. So give them a follow at women_FF. The sneaky girls love them some Kareem Hunt this week. So I'm going plain and simple.
Well, now that makes me think if I should not be kicking him out of all of my DFS lineups.
Maybe kick him out of some for some variance.
Oh, we're going to kick him out of some, trust me. I didn't realize I put him in all 7. I feel like an idiot, but that's neither here nor there. Josh, we need 2 wide receivers, Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr., Quentin Johnston, Kayshon Boutte, and Greg Dortch. For the record, it sounds like Marvin Harrison is going to play this week.
If Marvin Harrison plays this week, I'm fully off of Greg Dortch. I don't even know if BTJ is going to play for starters.
Well, let me start with this, Josh. Let's rewind a bit. Kamani Vidal, if Amari Hampton plays, is just off the books completely. If
maybe not this week, first week back,
too.
But I also too think he's going to be viable. They want to run a split backfield.
Because what I was going to ask Josh is there any chance any of those running backs fit into this flex spot? I feel like I would want to go wide receiver. Austin,
well, Vidal would be my guy there.
Okay, interesting.
I don't trust Tootin. Feels like the pop week was a mirage.
Well, here's the thing. I think Jacoby Myers has to be in your lineup.
Yeah.
There is a chemistry there, and he's looking good. So I think he's your first.
And then from there, it's upside plays, right? So do you trust Booty? Do you trust QJ? Which I don't. Do you trust BTJ off a bum ankle? Because I don't.
I am going to go that Brian Thomas Jr. has had enough time off, and I would actually go with the 2 Jacksonville wide receivers in this situation.
I'm going to go Myers and Booty at wide receiver. And then for the flex, I'm going to go Vidal.
Sharps. I mean, he's only stealing touchdowns and nothing else at this point. So
yeah, I mean that you want to talk about boom or bust.
I'm going to go Vidal and Booty. So it's just really a question, Josh. If you go Brian Thomas Jr., we have the exact same answer.
No, I might throw QJ out there. It's the Raiders. Okay. It's the Raiders.
So let's just keep this simple for you. It's Vidal Hunt. It's Myers Booty. And then you need to choose between Brian Thomas Jr. and Quentin Johnson. That's
honestly, that decision could be made for you.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. Pats, Eagles, Falcons defense. Josh, you have any opinion on this? They are all top 10 defenses for me this week.
I mean, Patriots against the Giants, be okay. Jackson Dart presumably will start. They're going to give up not touchdowns, but they will give up touchdowns because Jackson Dart's going to run some in. They're definitely going to give up some rushing yards to him. Falcons pass rush is it right now. Eagles are interesting.
Yes, they are.
Coming off of a really embarrassing second half.
Yeah.
Against Dallas. And you can get after Caleb Williams.
You absolutely can. He's just not turning the ball over much.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, he had the strip sack in the end zone last week.
That's true. That was a weird one.
I'm gonna say Falcons just based on the pass rush. That's
fair. And I'm not doing this on purpose. Falcons are actually my last of this group. I have the Pats ahead only because my rankings tend to skew safety versus upside. The Falcons are the highest upside of this defense. I think the Pats are a little bit safer. So I see where Josh is coming from.
Yeah, and honestly, like look at the style of offenses that they're playing. Falcons play the fucking Jets. Let's be real here.
Yeah, but
like they play the worst offense of these three.
They definitely play the worst offense. That's for sure. There is no debating that. Josh, I saw this question come in, and I had an epiphany this morning as I was staring at my rankings and realizing where I thought Jacoby Brissett should fall. So it's Jacoby Brissett or Lamar this week. And Josh, I have come to the conclusion that with what he has done over the last few weeks and for his opponent this week, Jacoby Brissett is my QB3. I am playing him over Lamar, and I am playing him over most quarterbacks this week, including Justin Herbert on multiple of my own rosters. The only 2 quarterbacks I would play over Jacoby Brissett if I had all of my options are Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen this week.
So you want to hear something that's really embarrassing? Lamar Jackson, since week 7, is the QB 25 in fantasy football.
Yep. I told you. I owed apologies this past Monday. I owned up to it. There is something wrong with Lamar Jackson, and I'm not buying him because it's the Bengals defense. And if you want to talk about a bad defense, my matchup report came out this morning. Tampa Bay, over the last 4 weeks, has given up the most points to quarterbacks and the most points to wide receivers.
I've been saying it for weeks. Jacoby Brissett is, without a doubt, the safest floor quarterback that you can play in fantasy football right now. And he has equally as much upside to go with it.
Yep.
Lamar has not been himself, plain and simple. And quite frankly, because he hasn't been himself, it's been a detriment to Derrick Henry in that offense because Lamar opens up holes for Derrick Henry in the running game. But if Lamar's not running, you can stop Derrick Henry, plain and simple. The answer is Jacoby Brissett.
Yep. Nothing to add. Zach, RJ Harvey over Quinshon Judkins or Woody Marks this week?
This is interesting because while I do like Judkins, simply because when you have a rookie quarterback, you want to run the football. He did score 2 touchdowns last week. It was a much more winnable game against a horrendous Vegas team. They get the 49ers this week. Their run defense is a little bit better. Just throwing that out there.
That's fair.
Doesn't mean that they're not going to rely on Quinshon Judkins. Plain and simple.
Very true.
I think Judkins is probably the safest floor. I think RJ Harvey represents the biggest upside. And I understand the hesitation behind Harvey. I think people are really just looking at the KC game because that was his first start without J.K. Dobbins. And they don't want to realize, oh, shit, KC's really good against running backs, right? Then, of course, Jaleel McLaughlin steals the touchdown. So then it becomes, well, is he even the lead back? He's going to get more run after that game. Obviously, they have a bye. They can work in more playbook options there. I think there's more upside with Harvey, and I still think he has a pretty decent floor.
Yep. I'm starting him over Marks. I'm keeping Judkins, and I actually like Judkins this week as well.
Yeah, like I said, I'm perfectly fine going Judkins. I also would rank them Judkins, Harvey, and Marks.
Yep, that's exactly how I have them. Zach just throwing in that he is pumped for this Bengals-Baltimore, the late game tomorrow. He is a big Burrow fan. And Josh, I don't want to pour water on this, but I've brought this up a few times. My only concern here is Joe Burrow was averaging 7 fantasy points per game when he went down. I'm hoping we know the Bengals start terribly. So I'm hoping that Joe Burrow has grown with the team. And I understand Joe Burrow is Joe fucking Burrow. I'm just hoping he can come back in this first game and deliver what a lot of people have these expectations for.
Well, and I think the upside here is that, Burrow's actually gotten a couple of weeks of practice. Yeah. It hasn't been like, oh, it's just 1 week. He's been limited. And now they're throwing him back in kind of thing. He's at least gotten some practice reps. I want to say that Joe Flacco, quote, did his job, but really he hasn't.
He didn't.
They've lost 4 in a row.
I said really, Joe Flacco was good for fantasy, not for football.
He's not good for anything else. So, I'm excited for Joe Burrow to come back.
Yeah, I hope it works out.
My Jamar Chase shares.
For fantasy, I hope it works out. Yep, exactly. So, K-Space, new name. Welcome to the show. Pick 1, Romeo Dobbs, Kayshon Boutte, Aaron Jones, full PPR. We're looking at the flex spot. I'm going to be honest, Josh, I just don't trust either of these wide receivers. Give me the guaranteed volume from Aaron Jones, even in what is probably a shitstorm of an offense. So,
I mean, he's the guy that they're leaning on in the running game, but he's also a check down option for a young quarterback. So I think that there's plenty of PPR upside here as well. Boutte's pretty hit or miss. There's a lot of issues within that Detroit secondary, which definitely makes Dobbs intriguing to say the least. But I would probably rank them Jones, Dobbs, and Boutte this week.
Yep. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Thanks for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving, Steven. Everybody. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Give us a second. Let's knock out a segment first, and we'll get right back to your questions. It's the thumbnail for a reason. It is the smash play of the week. This week, I'm going with Travian Henderson. Last week, Josh Hudson takes Derrick Henry. RB5 on the week. 2 touchdowns. Do I sense a new segment?
Which I called, by the way, within my...
Do I sense a new segment of Josh picking the 2 touchdown special every
Let's
week?
not.
Let's not for this guy anymore either. The fact of the matter is this. I understand there's offensive line issues, but you know how you avoid offensive line issues? You control the run, you do dump off passes. Travian Henderson was not great last week, but Cincinnati came out and surprised New England. If you watch the game, you know that's what happened. And it was on the road. I don't think that happens 2 weeks in a row, and this one's at home. Out of the 25 running back carries last week, Travian Henderson took 18 of them. He also led the backfield with 4 targets. These are all positive signs. I don't think they're going to slowly work Ramondre back in. I think these are the roles as we're moving forward. And then you look at the opponent this week. We were very excited about Cincinnati. It was a little bit of a letdown. The Giants are as bad as Cincinnati is against the running back. The Giants just got murdered by Jahmyr Gibbs, but that was not a fluke. 4 other running backs have put up 25 fantasy points on the New York Giants this season. They cannot stop the run. I'm not saying Travian Henderson is going for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, but I'll take 101 or 2 and be very, very happy with that. I think it could be a very big week for the kid coming off a little bit of a dud where people might be afraid to play him a little bit, Josh.
Yeah, I'm also trying to figure out what I hit because our screens are just like, there we go. I don't know what the hell just happened there.
You picked a new layout.
I didn't what the hell?
I look at my notes, so I didn't even see it. I'm just sitting here talking on a blank screen. Hey, everyone got to admire the background for a little bit. So
I was like, what the shit just happened? No, 10 out of 10. No notes. I love me some Trevion Henderson this week.
There we go. And we move on to the game of the week, Josh. And as I said, you got a little ahead of yourself, but you have plenty of reasons to talk to us about this Thanksgiving Day shootout.
Yeah. Baltimore's on a 5-game winning streak, and this is all despite the fact that Lamar Jackson is struggling, plain and simple. Derrick Henry scored 2 TDs last week. Fantastic. Love to see it. Guess what? The Bengals are absolutely atrocious against tight ends. Wheels fucking up for Mark Andrews. But you know what? None of that fucking matters because it is the return of Joe Burrow. That's what this game is all about. And he doesn't have T. Higgins this week. So that means we get a ton of Jamar Chase. And last season, Burrow to Chase against these Baltimore Ravens, 29 targets in 2 games, 22 receptions in 2 games, 457 receiving yards in 2 games, and 5 touchdowns in 2 games. These 2 teams will play each other twice in the next 3 weeks. Yeah. And we get Thanksgiving primetime as the first matchup with the first return game for Joe Burrow. I said it already. He averages just shy of 300 passing yards per game against Baltimore in his career. He's played 37 career road games. And in those road games, he's thrown 73 touchdowns to only 22 interceptions. Give me all the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews. Give me all the fantasy points in this game.
Yeah, you have to think that's the way it's going, is that this is, again, tied for the biggest over-under on the entire slate at 52.5. My only concern here, Josh, you want to talk about how the Dallas game was weird, that Kansas City was favorite. Baltimore hasn't been fantastic, and they're like an 8-point favorite in this game right now. So, but as you pointed out, there are some winning streaks and losing streaks going on there. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Cincinnati needs this game big time. You know, this is the only way they're going to be able to stay in the hunt for the AFC North. Obviously Baltimore needs to keep winning because Pittsburgh's nipping at their heels. They're both tied atop the division at 6-5, which is saying something considering Baltimore started 1-5. So,
yeah, the chat is just popping off. I'll quickly remind everybody, if you like what you're hearing, hit the like button. If you want to hear it again next week, hit the subscribe button. If you happen to be listening on Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button. We do have Super Chat if you want to jump to the front of the line, and we do have a completely free Discord that we will drop a link to if you want to talk fantasy football after the show. Josh, we had caught up on questions. We are now 18 in the hole. Yeah. It's going to be a long show. Keenan, should we stick with the Texans D or look to stream the Chargers? Josh, I don't love the Chargers, and I do love the Texans. I'm going to go with the better D. The Chargers probably have more upside. I'm sticking with the Texans.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Texans as well. I mean, shit, even against, Buffalo, they had, 20 points?
Yeah.
I'm not worried about them.
Yeah, who do we like better rest of season, Cortland Sutton or Christian Watson?
Is it crazy for me to say Christian Watson?
It's a little crazy. I've been thinking about this. I know we're down on Sutton, but I do think Sutton probably, I know this is a rest of season question. I'm starting to have this feeling Sutton's going to come out of this bye really hot as well. So, I
mean, he could. Christian Watson just seems to be that guy in the passing game now that Tucker Kraft's on IR. So,
yeah.
And again, it's Toyotathon season, baby. Just
saying. That's true. Keenan, thoughts on Hampton coming back? Does it help or hurt Gazdon's fantasy production? I'm going to be honest, Josh, I don't know. We have not seen these two together healthy, but the bigger concern is they have no offensive line. And that we've already talked about hurts Gazdon because he's not a blocker and they're unlikely to leave him. They may not leave him and Hampton on the field together. If Hampton's in, it may be a situation where they bring in more blocking tight ends. I'm concerned about Oronde Gazdon, and it does not help the Raiders surprisingly good against fantasy tight ends. I think that has a lot to do with Jeremy Chin back there at safety. So.
Yeah, don't love Gadsden this week. Here's the thing, though. When Hampton was playing, nobody knew who Oronde Gadsden was. I mean, that's the long and short of it. We talk about all the time how targets correlate between the running back position and the tight end position, right? They were utilizing Hampton out of the backfield. And in games that they weren't, that's when Gadsden would pop up.
Yep.
So if they decide they want to start throwing the ball to Amari and Hampton, you're not going to see good Oronde Gadsden, plain and simple. But the fact of the matter is this offensive line is decimated. They want to run the football to take some pressure off of that. They're probably going to run some jumbo packages. We've seen a lot of these teams that, have been running these 12 and 13 personnel packages, getting multiple tight ends on the field. Would not surprise me one bit if Greg Roman were to implement some of that just to get this offense sort of in more of a rhythm throwing the football just to keep defenses honest.
I agree with that. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting thing. I'm nervous about it. As a huge Oronde Gadsden fan, Omarion Hampton's the better piece, plain and simple. So fighting solves everything. Has to drop one of these players: Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Jacoby Brissett, or Troy Franklin. They jokingly say Brock Bowers, but they know they're out dropping Bowers. Josh, it would be ridiculous. I assume this is not super flex to not drop one of these quarterbacks. Which one of these fucking quarterbacks are you dropping?
Honestly, probably Herbert.
That's where I stood. You cannot drop Burrow. If you have to do it before this week, you have to see what Burrow is tomorrow.
And you're not dropping Brissett.
You should be starting Jacoby Brissett if you listen to me, because that's who I'm in on this week. I think it's Justin Herbert. I mean,
Herbert's been a downswing since his tackle went out, 100%.
This is a rough decision.
It is, yeah.
I guess here's my other question. If you're never starting Franklin and the playoffs are on the line, okay, let me throw it this way. If you plan on starting Justin Herbert this week, drop Jacoby Brissett. I know that sounds ridiculous. I'm just saying how your mindset. I would be starting Brissett. If you're starting Herbert, drop Brissett. If you are starting Brissett and you're never going to play Franklin, drop Franklin and see what you have at quarterback. That's what I would do.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, it kind of boils down to, don't give your opponent a free shot at a winning lottery ticket, right?
And one of these three quarterbacks
could very well be that 100%. Yeah. I mean, if you're not starting Franklin, that's fine. Drop him and, hang on to the three quarterbacks. I'm assuming
Franklin's good. He's not a lottery ticket. Plain and
correct.
Simple,
so. Yeah.
So Quincy heard us, Dog and Lamar. Are we going as far as Brock Purdy? And I am not, Josh. I still have Lamar ahead of Brock Purdy. So yeah. You're just betting on the much higher upside there. Are any of the following waiver options worth dropping: Godwin or Bashal Tutin? John Mechie is the answer. Yes, he is. Quentin Johnston, Darren Waller, Harold Fannin. He already has Gadsden. I have my concerns about Gadsden, Josh, but you've also pointed out Fannin with Shadur Sanders may not set the world on fire.
Yeah, he's a very low upside floor play. You're talking 6 to 9 fantasy points with Fannin.
Waller has obviously shown the upside. It's starting to sound more and more like he's not playing this week. I have not heard enough updates.
I was going to say, he's been popping up in all these questions. I'm like, where are you guys seeing this stuff? I follow Dolphins beat reporters and I'm not even seeing this stuff.
I guess, Josh, this comes down to one thing. Obviously, I love John Mechie. Don't make a drop here if you're never going to play any of these guys. If anything, as long as you don't have Travis Etienne, if you do not own Etienne, I'm good with dropping Tutin for one of these tight ends just as an insurance policy to Gadsden.
Yeah, that's fair. I also would be fine dropping Godwin for Mechie.
There you go.
I mean, for as hot as the Bucs offense started this season, they've significantly cooled. Baker is banged up because that offensive line is trash. Does he even have time to get it to Chris Godwin? You know what I mean? Is Chris Godwin even 100% healthy? I don't know that we get full upside tight or, wide receiver 2 production from Chris Godwin rest of the season. So outside of that, is he really even any better for you rest of the season than John Mechie? Because right now, for what Tyrod Taylor is, he can at least throw the football and be competent. John Mechie's good. Yeah. He just hasn't had an opportunity.
Joseph says he already knows your answer, Josh. Pearsall, Sean Tucker, Brian Thomas Jr., Tez Johnson. If we're assuming essentially everyone is healthy, I'm going to go the upside of Brian Thomas Jr. and Josh, even a healthy Irving. I think they're going to keep Sean Tucker involved. I do not trust Ricky Pearsall at all. It's Brian Thomas Jr. and Sean Tucker for me.
Yeah, I would go that far too. Again, I mean, if BTJ doesn't play, then, you pivot to Tez.
Yep.
But that's where I would go.
Yep. Did the Chiefs expose the blueprint for beating the Colts, stop JT, and force Daniel Jones to be the hero? I would love to answer this question, yes. But I warned everybody last week. The Chiefs are actually, I've been warning. It just occurred to me for 2 weeks because I told everybody to temper their expectations on RJ Harvey's debut. And then I said it again last week. The Chiefs are so good against the run. If everyone can be as good against the run as the Chiefs, then that is the blueprint. The fact of the matter is this, though. They can't. The Chiefs have the right scheme and the right personnel. Can you beat the Colts that way? Yes, but it's not the easiest thing just to like click your fingers and be as good as the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, look, the Chiefs took Saquon Barkley out of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They absolutely shut him down against the Eagles. The Eagles then said, all right, well, I guess we're just going to throw the ball and smoke you guys. And that's what they did. And that's the problem. Daniel Jones hasn't looked like Daniel Jones that we saw the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So that's really what it boils down to. The Chiefs said Jalen Hurts needs to beat us. Jalen Hurts did. They said, all right, Daniel Jones needs to beat us. He couldn't. That's the difference between an elite quarterback and a not elite quarterback, plain and simple. JT is elite, plain and simple. He's going to beat good defenses. But every once in a while, a good defense can get the better of him if the quarterback can't make you pay.
Yeah. Fighting solves everything, says Franklin wants to know if we can get him an Uber. He made the drop. He's holding the quarterbacks.
Works for me.
Jason Ortiz over on, it is YouTube. For some reason, I thought it was Twitch because of his logo. Has given us every fantasy football lineup he has, Josh. So let's try to get through these a little quick because we have like 4 of these we're doing for him here. Set his lineup. Start with the quarterback, Josh. Nix, Purdy, Burrow, Trevor Lawrence.
You've held Burrow this long. I'm starting Burrow.
It's kind of where I stand. Nix does have a baller-ass matchup, but I think I would go Burrow. We need 2 running backs, Josh. Rico, Amari and Hampton, Kamani Vidal, Devin Neal, Kyle Monangai, Bam Knight, Bashal Tootin, Tony Pollard, Ramondre Stevenson.
It's definitely Rico Dowdle.
Yep, and then it's whoever is starting for the Chargers.
Yeah, if Hampton doesn't play, then it's 100% Vidal. If Hampton does play, I'll probably lean Hampton. I'm not trotting out Neal. Monangai might be able to fall in the end zone, but I think 10, 11 points is kind of his ceiling. Bam Knight shouldn't even be on a roster. Honestly, Tony Pollard at this point shouldn't even be on a roster.
Yeah. He's starting Tyler Warren at tight end. Puka Nacua, Nico, Tedero McMillan, Wan'Dale Robinson, Khalil Shakir, Ricky Pearsall. He needs 3 wide receivers, Josh. To me, you're starting these first 4, and that covers one of the flex spots. So
correct.
And then
honestly, I would throw Shakir in there as well and go.
Okay, would you go Shakir over Neal? Was going to be my question, Josh. Okay,
yeah, because all the fantasy points are going to be scored by Taysom Hill.
All right, I'm gonna alternate Jason's lineups. So we're gonna go a Quincy question here, and say 1 flex spot: DeAndre Swift, RJ Harvey, Cortland Sutton, Alec Pierce. Josh, this comes down to the 2 Broncos for me. I'm going to go RJ Harvey. I tend to lean running backs in this situation, but I like either one of those 2 out of this group.
I like Harvey, but I also like DeAndre Swift this week. I would put Harvey over Swift, but
yeah. Jason, is JD5 worth picking up? Jason, I think you're a new name to the show. So Josh and I have been doing 3 shows a week together for 4 weeks. Well, much longer than 4 weeks, but for the 4 weeks that Jaden Daniels has been hurt, we are both of the mindset that he does not return this season. The chat will disagree with us. They have been, but I don't think JD5 is anyone I'm rushing to go out there and get, Josh.
Nope. Not at all.
Neil Patel, Drake May, or Lamar this week. This is where I am, Josh. Like I said, I don't trust Lamar. May is still high enough for me here. I understand it's a great matchup. I'm definitely going Drake May here.
Yeah, one of these guys is not afraid to run, and that's Drake May.
Yep. Let's do one of Jason's lineups. So we got another lineup here for Jason. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex. So very similar to the last one. At quarterback, Josh, we're going Love, Dart, Burrow, or Trevor. So pretty similar to the last one. Are we going Burrow or are we going Jackson Dart?
Dart.
I'd go Jackson Dart as well. 2 running backs. He has Ashton Genty, Jalen Warren, James Cook, and Rico Dowdle. This is a hell of a lineup.
I was going to say, you might be covering your flexes here.
I'm looking at the wide receivers, but he's great at wide receiver as well.
Yeah. I mean, two of the wide receivers, I'm definitely starting St. Brown and Waddle, and you're definitely starting Ladd. You're starting those first 3.
Yep. So that's your 3 wide receivers.
So DJ Moore's a fade. Shakir I like, but he doesn't typically possess the same kind of upside.
Yeah. I'm wondering, are we going Pittman over any of these running backs, or is he?
That's kind of what I'm leaning. That's what I'm looking at here. Warren would be the odd one out if you wanted to start Pittman for me. It's Genty, it's Cook, it's Rico as the top 3, 100%.
Yep, I agree with that. And then Josh, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, Theo Johnson.
Oh, it's Theo Johnson. It's not close.
That's where I was too. Okay, we're on the same page there.
As long as Jackson Dart is playing, Theo Johnson's a top 10 option.
Yep. Josh, I'll read the question if you want to make sure you're still starring for me in there. Charlene needs a wide receiver and a flex. Troy Franklin, AJ Brown, and Mike Ibuka. Jaden Higgins, Jawan Jennings, Woody Marks, Devin Neal. How good is your lineup that a lot of these guys are your wide receiver and flex option? With Devonta Smith bang, Josh, I think AJ Brown's a must start. To me, this really comes down to Franklin versus Ibuka.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. AJ Brown still makes me nervous because the moment I trust him, he fucking goes up for 3.5 fantasy points. But yeah, I mean, with Devonta Smith banged up, not practicing, AJ Brown is 100% the focal point of practice in the passing game. So I think he has to be a must start. And quite frankly, there's nobody on the Chicago Bears defense that can cover him one-on-one.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking as well.
So then it just boils down to, are they going to throw him the football?
Yep.
So AJ Brown's a wide receiver for me. Man, we brought up on Monday the concerns with Ibuka.
I'm going to throw out. I'm going Franklin. I don't trust Ibuka. It's hard to trust Baker Mayfield right now. Troy Franklin has a great matchup and might be the wide receiver one for Denver.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean Franklin over Ibuka this week, which feels like sacrilegious to say, but I think that's where I'm going.
Things have changed. Jason with a strategy question. Do you start defenses against your own players? He has Genty and the Chargers D. Is that okay? I'm 1,000% okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, unless your league penalizes defense for yards given up, that would be the only reason why I might have like cause for pause against that. But outside of that, what you want your defense for is sacks, turnovers. You know, I mean, unless Genty's fumbling the ball 3 times in a game, which quite frankly, I don't think he's ever done in his life.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yep. The only time I wouldn't do this, and this is not a DFS show, not that we don't answer DFS questions, but this is not in a high stakes GPP, I'm not starting my defense. Your point is to tell a story. And if your story is that your defense is good, then your offensive player shouldn't be good in that game. That's correct. The only time. Jay Cup over on Twitch. Serious question. Is this the best team we've ever seen in a 12-man? It is better be good.
12 team standard.
No, it's half PPR. He just means standard as in it's
okay.
One QB,
Gotcha.
basically.
Right.
So Josh, he's got Drake May at quarterback, Bijan and Rico Dowdle, JSN and CD Lamb, Hunter Henry, Ashton Genty, Emeka Ibuka. Then he does have Caleb. I actually have a funny story to tell about this lineup. But anyway, Caleb, Woody Marks, Devin Neal, Khalil Shakir, and Harold Fannin. It's a good lineup.
Honestly, it's a great lineup. I mean, when you consider the value, like, you know, Bijan, CD Lamb, JSN.
To have JSN, CD Lamb, and Bijan is filthy, and then you obviously hit.
Well, and then you had to pay up to get Genty as well. Like,
yeah.
I mean, either some of these guys slipped in drafts or you swung some trades, and that's why your bench depth is what it is. But yeah, I mean, you know, Drake May's faded a little the last month of the season, but he's still a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle's been a value play. Obviously, Ibuka's been great value, not so much the last 6 weeks. Caleb's a solid backup. Yeah, I mean, you know, starters look great.
Yeah. Yeah, this team can't afford, well, I was going to say they can't afford a running back injury, but they could.
Your tight end is the biggest question mark on this team, straight
But
up.
you also have Fannin, and I don't know, Josh. I'm starting to have positive feelings about Fannin.
Well, like I said, I mean, there's something to consistency there, of course, but I mean, he's not getting you 10 fantasy points a game.
Yeah.
I mean, his stat line last week was 6 fantasy points. Do you really feel like starting that at a tight end position at a half-point PPR?
This is Shedeur Sanders' first start.
Do you think it's going to get better and starts 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6? I don't.
I'm not a Shedeur hater. I do think it's going to get better. I like this kid. I'm
not saying I hate the kid. I'm just saying he's a 5th round pick for a reason.
Because everyone else fucked up.
Okay.
Jason Ortiz set my lineup. Same parameters as last time. Josh, he has Joe Burrow, Danny Jones, Jacoby Brissett. And it's Jacoby Brissett for me, Josh, and it's not close. I don't care that you held Joe Burrow.
I don't care. You're
2 running backs: Saquon, Javonte, Kyron Williams, Amari and Hampton, Tyrone Tracy, Devin Neal. It's
Kyron 100%.
100%. I think it has to be Saquon. I know you're kind of a hater right now.
Against the Bears with no linebackers, yeah. I'll go Barkley.
Yep. 3 wide receivers. We're going. Where am I missing this?
Well,
Jamar
Chase
Chase.
and Nico, 100%.
It's actually the first 3, 100%, and Terry McLaurin's not even involved in this.
Yeah.
So it's a question of, does DK fit into the flex over? If Hampton's playing, I'm getting him into the flex. I'm probably getting Tyrone Tracy in the flex as well, Josh.
Yeah, I'll get Tracy in there just for the receiving upside. I do not like Javonte Williams this week.
And that's fair. No,
Yeah.
if Hampton's healthy, I'll do Hampton. If it's not Hampton, I'm probably going DK over Javonte Williams.
I'm fine with that.
Yep. We buy homes. Standard League needs 1 wide receiver. Stephon Diggs, Emeka Egbuka, Justin Jefferson. Oh, what a world we are in. He's leaning Diggs. If Baker Mayfield is out, what do we think?
I'm fine with that. Even if Baker plays, I'm fine with Diggs over Egbuka.
I don't know that I am. I should be, because the Giants are whack, but so is Cincinnati. I cannot play Justin Jefferson this week with Max fucking Brosmer. I don't know what to expect, but I can't expect that it's good. I think I'm going Stephon Diggs this year as well.
Yeah, I mean, Egbuka gets Arizona. Their secondary is solid. Like, it's not anything, great, but it's definitely not terrible.
Fire Bros bringing the heat to you, Josh.
Hey, I'm fine with it. Look, I said it earlier in the show. AJ Brown, starting him is basically freaking Russian roulette, man. And sometimes the trigger gets pulled. So
I told Josh if he would have scored, if AJ Brown would have scored that second touchdown that ended up getting called back last week, me and Josh were gonna have some words on Monday, because I benched AJ Brown in a lot of leagues.
Look,
advice. So
here's the thing:
we own it,
and I will own this. And I've never been afraid of accountability. I was very adamant that AJ Brown not great against zone coverage. That is traditionally what Dallas plays. He struggled against Dallas in week 1. Stupid me, should have known. These guys usually bounce back. I benched him in a league, and I lost in that league by 0.36 fantasy points. So if you're mad that I told you to bench him, believe me, I'm mad at myself for benching him.
Yeah, there you go. Said MHJ is playing. He's dropping Dortch to waivers. Who's he picking up? Yoshi Voss, Jaden Higgins, Tillman, Slayton. If I'm looking over the long haul, Josh, it's Jaden Higgins. We talked about this a lot.
Yeah, if you actually need somebody to start this week, I'm fine with Yoshi Voss.
Yep.
But yeah, it's Jaden Higgins long term.
There you go. Before we go, new name has Brissett, Rashee Rice, Justin Jefferson, Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt, Dalton Schultz, Amari Hampton. He also has Worthy and QJ on his bench. Are we bringing in Worthy to replace Hunt in the flex? Getting a little confused here. So he has Hampton for QJ, so he kind of has replacements there. To me, I'm leaving this lineup as it is and doing exactly what you described. But I don't think I'm benching Hunt, Josh, for Worthy, just because I don't trust anything he's doing right now.
No,
Hampton, you may have to bench.
Yeah, Hampton, you may have to bench. There's no guarantee that he plays, which honestly, I would prefer QJ over Worthy just based on the matchup.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not totally true. Dallas' secondary is even worse, but they're just not throwing Worthy the football. That's really the problem. You've already got KC's top target, and that's Rashee Rice. You don't need their 4th target, honestly.
Yep. So. He's barely a top 40 wide receiver. Right now, leave your lineup as it is. I'm not looking to take anybody out for what you have on the bench right now.
Correct.
Mr. Bakes a lot. Pick 1 tight end. I'm guessing it's TEP, but it's full PPR otherwise. Wait, now I'm confused. These guys aren't tight ends.
No, they're not tight ends at all.
Pick 1 tight end premium full PPR.
Oh, okay. The combo's throwing you off.
Gotcha. Yep. Parker Washington, Alec Pierce, K. Dot, and Darnell Mooney. We're only starting one of these guys. It's Parker Washington. Hey, I take that back. It's Darnell Mooney because Drake London's out and Kirk Cousins seems to love Darnell Mooney. It's Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I do like Parker Washington just from the return touchdown potential.
Yeah.
But
I don't think we covered it on a show with me and Josh. Austin and I did an entire DFS Thanksgiving special where we broke down these games game by game. In DFS, Josh, somehow CeeDee Lamb is $100 less than George Pickens. The DFS gods have bought in.
It makes sense.
Yeah, the DFS gods have bought in. I like both this week. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I do think Dak is probably good for 2 picks, but I think he's also good for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had a single game less than 66 receiving yards, and in that game, he scored a touchdown. So, I'm not worried about CeeDee Lamb. I think that there's going to be a bounce back. I mean, they've been talking about it all week about, just can't catch the football, whatever. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's had drop issues in the past. It's nothing new. Yep. Maybe it's getting to him that George Pickens has lapped him in the passing game because defenses are focusing so much on him. Dak's like, well, I got my guy one-on-one and he's balling, so why not throw it to him? But, it's boiled down to that Dak doesn't have to force CeeDee Lamb the football. That's where the, quote, struggles have been. And I think that when you're getting fed 15 targets a game, and yes, I'm being facetious, you can afford drops. Well, he's not getting 15 targets a game this year. So that's where you're seeing more like those drops are being amplified some. But yeah, I think he's going to be fine. I know KC, they play tough. They'll take Javonte Williams out. Dak is going to have to throw. This offense wins by throwing the football. So yep. I'm not worried about CeeDee Lamb one bit.
Let's throw Marcus up from Twitch and then knock out a segment. He says, Drake London, Kenny Gainwell, Troy Franklin, Tedero McMillan, Michael Pittman, Andre Yoshibas, Kyle Monangai, Brian Thomas Jr. We need to pick 2 and a wide receiver. We need to basically pick 1 wide receiver, 2 flex. So let's start with the wide receiver. You can
take London out of the equation.
I would say London's gone. Josh, I think I'm just going the middle
Pittman,
3 wide
McMillan,
receivers.
and Franklin for me, yeah.
Pittman, McMillan. Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah. So Marcus, it's Troy Franklin, Tedero McMillan, Michael Pittman.
Yeah, that's where I would go as well.
Yep. All right. Let's do a little upside downside. A lot of new names on the show. Let me quickly explain what we do here. We make bold predictions. We will tell you exactly where we think a player is going to finish or what kind of stat line we think they're going to finish with. We're wrong a lot, but the players we're right or the players we talk about are usually pretty good. But like I said, it's all about bold predictions. So each of us does 2 every week. Normally there's a third co-host. He's not here this week. So you're just getting from me and Josh. As I mentioned, we miss a lot. The players are usually good, and we missed last week by so very little. It was ridiculous. But we went 0 for 6 last week, Josh. So we're doing so terribly.
Actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I updated the rankings.
I did.
Oh,
I
you did?
Oh, okay. For you. Yep, we're good.
Shit. All right.
Nope, I knocked it out. So Josh, talk to me about your 2 and pick one to give us a in-depth breakdown on.
Yeah, I like Travis Etienne top 10 against Tennessee, and then the one I'm going to talk about here, Breece Hall 18 plus fantasy points against Atlanta. Look, the Jets are a bad team, but they managed to keep things close against Baltimore, and their defense, for as bad as they started, they've gotten a lot better. This was Tyrod Taylor's first start here for the Jets. He threw over 220 passing yards. Breece Hall in that game had 20 touches for 119 total yards, including 75 receiving yards. This Falcons team that the Jets are facing, they're so hit or miss. Like, they're going to put pressure on Tyrod Taylor, but you can beat them. Like,
absolutely,
they've had good running backs that have beat them and absolutely dominated against them. Y'all remember 3 weeks ago, Jonathan Taylor put up a fucking career game. Look, I'm not saying that Breece Hall is Jonathan Taylor, but their stratospheres are close. Like, they're not, it's not like Woody Marks and Jonathan Taylor, right? So, all right, Joseph, I see you.
We don't tend to let me be clear. There's one jinx in this situation, and I'll talk about it in a second. We don't tend to jinx here. We just, they don't always hit the mark we set for them.
Correct. Yeah, the fact of the matter is, over the last 4 weeks, Breece Hall has 78 total touches. That is what is going to be the focal point of this Jets offense, especially with Braylon Allen still on IR. Isaiah Davis, not a good running back. They need to lean on Breece Hall. They've got young, not really seasoned wide receivers. He becomes the focal point of this offense. If you lean on them, Jets might be able to steal a win. And I think really that's what this team needs more than anything.
No, I like it. Austin also was very much in Breece Hall this week. And I pointed out, if you got to watch any of the Jets last week, Breece Hall is playing like hero ball right now. He knows that whole offense is on him, and he's playing like it, and it's looked really good.
Well, and don't forget, he's also a free agent at the end of the year.
Something to play for.
He needs to ball, because if he doesn't, he's not going to get that bag.
Yeah, and he needs that big salary at the end of this year, because that's his last real shot at it. So Josh has Travis Etienne, top 10. Breece Hall, 18 plus fantasy points. For my 2 picks, there's a jinx here, folks. So every week, this started about 2 years ago. It started as a joke. And then I just leaned into it. And I was good at this for 2 years. I'm not good this season. I think I've gotten 2 correct, and it was when I just kept picking Jonathan Taylor. So I pick a 2 touchdown special every week. This week I'm going with Kieran Williams taking on the Carolina Panthers. Kieran Williams scores touchdowns. Carolina gives up touchdowns. It's just going to be when's it his turn. Seems like it's always Devontae Adams' turn. But for my pick this week that I'm going to talk more about, that is going to be RJ Harvey as a top 20 running back. Probably a little bit of a hedged bet here, but a top 20 running back against Washington. I warned everybody, this show warned everybody, you were going to be disappointed by RJ Harvey going up against Kansas City. They are good against running backs. Washington is not. They allow the 5th most fantasy points to running backs on this season, and they've actually been getting worse. Over the last 8 games, it's now the 3rd most fantasy points. Harvey saw 14 touches before the bye week, and as Josh mentioned earlier in the show, I think they've installed more plays for him during the bye week. Plus, I think this game could be a blowout, and we're going to see RJ Harvey just killing the clock in the second half. I think this is his true breakout game against this Washington team, Josh.
I think the fact that you think that Bo Nix can put together 4 complete quarters of football to where it's a blowout, that might be what you're jinxing here, not RJ Harvey being top 20.
This isn't usually my jinx pick. I just want to throw that out there. 2 touchdown is. I love RJ Harvey this week, Josh. I'm starting him everywhere. The chat's been popping, Josh. So let's just keep this as one segment. We're going to run into the downside of this. So we gave you guys our upside. Now we're going to give you the downside. We are actually really good at picking these. These are the players we think are not going to do well this week. And Josh has the boldest pick that this show has seen in 2 seasons. Last week, we went 4-2 as a group. Joe went 2-0. Can't even show up for you guys this week. Josh, talk about your 2 picks. And my God, talk about your big one here.
Yeah. So we'll start with Brock Purdy, not top 24 at Cleveland. Look, guys, yes, Cleveland sucks. I get it. That defense, really good. 2nd fewest fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks in weeks since week 7. So we're talking the last 5 weeks.
Not top 24 is
and
bold.
Oh, by the way, he threw 3 first half interceptions against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
This Cleveland defense is good, plain and simple. They're going to lean on Christian McCaffrey. It's what they do. He's lapping the field when it comes to total touches. But the boldest of bold predictions here
on the show, maybe ever.
Justin Jefferson outside the top 50 at the wide receiver position against the Seattle Seahawks. We've talked all really for the last month and a half probably about how Justin Jefferson is not Justin Jefferson.
Correct.
Right now he is a name. This is his DeAndre Hopkins with Brock Osweiler season. That is what this is for Justin Jefferson. Sometimes bad quarterback play sinks a really fucking good player. And while that bad quarterback isn't going to be playing this week, it's looking more and more likely that JJ McCarthy is not playing.
It might be a
Do you really feel like Max Brosmer, an undrafted rookie free agent, is going to come in here and apparently solve Justin Jefferson's problems about not getting the football and being able to turn up field and gather yards? Because I don't. I said it on Saturday. Yes, Joseph. Very big cojones. I said it on Saturday when I got into this conversation with Lindsey Rhodes, who was very much pro Justin Jefferson in our conversation against Jefferson versus Michael Wilson. Sometimes you have to take the name out of the equation. That's why I love blind resumes. Yeah. Because we need to get out of our heads on what somebody has done for me in the past. What have you done for me lately? And right now, Justin Jefferson hasn't done shit. Seattle allows the 6th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers since week 7, and they give up less than 100 yards per game to wide receivers over the last 5 weeks. Less than 100 yards. And he also has Jordan Addison opposite him, who's also a pretty damn good wide receiver, who got a big giant goose egg last week. Justin Jefferson outside the top 50 this week.
It makes me sound like an idiot because I went with the least bold picks ever, especially compared to Josh's 2 picks. But I really just wanted to make.
No, I wanted to make a statement.
You did.
That's really what I want. Look, if he doesn't, if he finishes top 40, sure, it's a loss. but I'm not wrong.
But you were right. Exactly.
I was right. Exactly.
That's what we were trying to get at here. Well, I just wanted to make fun of a player that I've been making fun of for a while. So I'm going to start with the no touchdown special is going to be Rome Odunze taking on Josh's Philadelphia Eagles. I think Odunze is going to see Quinion Mitchell the entire game. And this is the type of wide receiver your team typically shuts down, Josh. I just don't see Odunze doing anything. And he's been inconsistent at that. The one I want to talk about is Kyle Pitts. So I'm picking Kyle Pitts, not top 15. And I almost went not top 20. I feel like I should change it to try to match your energy here, but I'm not going to because I want the win. But I think people are going to see the Jets and think it's a good matchup. It's not as good as you think it is. This feels like a layup, but Kyle Pitts is rostered in over 70% of fantasy leagues. And I cannot figure out why people will not just give up on this human being. He is the tight end 16 on the season. He is the tight end 20 in points per game. If you are not in a 16 or 20 person league, Kyle Pitts does not deserve a roster spot, plain and simple. Then you throw in the Jets. Over their last 5 games, when they should have gotten worse with these trades, they're only giving up about 9 fantasy points per game to the entire tight end position. That's the 4th fewest in the league, and they've only allowed a single touchdown in that span. I don't trust Kirk Cousins. There's no reason to trust Kyle Pitts, and the Jets are a better defense than you think they are.
Yeah, they've seemingly gotten better without Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. Go figure.
Yeah.
Sometimes scheme matters. Like I keep trying to tell people this. Scheme really does matter. You can fit lesser players into a scheme that outperforms superstars because that superstar relies too much on natural talent.
Yeah.
Versus understanding the assignment.
And it seems like a lot of these people, Josh, we've been talking about this with the Jets for a while. It's an audition period. These people are playing for their next contract and maybe their next job next year. Well, why not play your ass off? And clearly it's working against the tight end. But again, we've talked about this on the waiver show for a while. Stop holding on to these bad tight ends. For 1 week, Kyle Pitts is going to do anything for you. It's not worth it. You can be streaming the tight end. If you pick my stream of the week, just the random person I threw at you every single week, it's the tight end 8, I think, right now. And if you just look at my top 5 list that I give you guys every week, I have built the tight end 1. I am beating Trey No, it's the tight end 2. I apologize. I'm not beating Trey McBride. I'm beating everybody else, though. So, yeah, I'm beating Brock Bowers, all off of waivers. So I just want to throw that out there. Stop holding on to Kyle Pitts, and he's not going to be a top 15 team or matchup this week, even against the Jets. Back to the chat. Joseph, just stirring the shit up with these kickers, says the 49ers kicker is averaging more points per game than Aubrey. I think that's fair, but the fact of the matter is also this. Is he still hurt? Which 49ers kicker are we talking about? Is it Matt Gay or is it, I know you're talking about Eddie Pinheiro, but, or not Eddie Pinheiro. Is it Eddie Pinheiro?
No.
Yes, it's Eddie Pinheiro. That's who he's talking about. Eddie Pinheiro is averaging more points per game. Eddie Pinheiro's dealing with some injuries.
Cleveland and bad weather is expected this weekend.
So Josh jumped the gun here. I want you to focus on 2 things for me. Who has the best quarterback and who is playing indoors? Joseph, that is the kicker. You start, my friend. Keenan, thoughts on this squad? Championship material, 12-man league, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. You starting Dak Prescott or no backup quarterback? Way to be. Dak Prescott, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Kieran Williams, Jackson Smith and Jigba, CeeDee Lamb, Cortland Sutton, Oronde Gadsden, Texans defense, and Jason Myers, the kicker 1. I don't know who Wilson is. That Garrett Wilson? Probably Garrett Wilson.
Could be Michael Wilson too.
Oh, it could be Michael
or
Wilson.
Emmanuel Wilson.
Right. Emmanuel Wilson. That actually makes a lot more sense. It's Emmanuel Wilson. Let's go with that. Josh, my only concern with this team is I don't know how much I can trust Sutton, but I think he has the right high upside play in Christian Watson to replace Sutton if he has to down the stretch. So.
Yeah, and really to me the biggest worry it's not even Sutton, it's Gadsden. It's
Oronde Gadsden. I knew that was your problem. So.
Yeah, outside of that, I love it. So.
Joseph said, your takes are making mine look Sherman soft. Yeah, when I was reading his takes, I was like, well, damn, I could have got bolder, but I'm hosting this week. Right. I didn't need to.
Alex, somebody's got to with Joe not here. So,
do we like MHJ if he plays, or would we put him in? Would we put in Shakir or QJ over him? I'm not starting either one of those 2 against this Tampa Bay defense. Over MHJ against this Tampa Bay defense, I mean to say.
If I'm trotting out Jacoby Brissett, you best believe I'm trotting out as a wide receiver 1.
Joseph and Josh had a bit of a tiff between Chargers jerseys and the Eagles Kelly green. So I will throw my opinion in. So I do have a favorite jersey, and it is a Chargers jersey, but it's actually the powder blues were always my favorite. To Josh's chagrin, I don't think they wear them anymore. I'll see again tomorrow, but I think
it's actually one of their default logos.
Like, no. I'm talking about a different one. Okay. The Dallas Star Shoulders were also, when they used to wear those on Thanksgiving, some of my favorite jerseys. But my current favorites, the all-white Color Rush Bengals jersey, the Siberian Tiger, is a dope fucking jersey. And Josh, not maybe the jersey, because the uniform itself was boring, but the Saints all-white with the white helmet, I was feeling that a couple weeks ago. I thought that was a great jersey. Like I
still stand by the yeah, but that's not really throwback though.
Those no. I just meant jerseys in general.
Yeah. No, I mean, if we're talking like throwbacks and stuff, like I obviously like the Chargers powder blue, the Eagles Kelly green, and then the Bucks creamsicles. Those are three of my favorites.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of the creamsicle as well. So
yeah, the logo's dumb as fuck, but I love the color scheme.
If I don't really wear jerseys. I don't really own jerseys. If I could own any jersey, it would probably be a Keenan Allen powder blue or a Mike Evans creamsicle. Like those would be the two I would go for.
That's fair. And you know what? Speaking of jerseys, I'm just going to bring it up because I can.
Do it.
We're raffling off a signed Rob Gronkowski New England Patriots jersey. So I'm going to need everybody to click this link that I'm going to drop in the chat and go buy yourself a freaking raffle ticket. They are $5, and 100% of the raffle sales all go towards benefiting Play Like a Girl. It's an organization that benefits women and helps them, women and girls, through education. So it's something that we're doing with our Gods and Goddesses of the fantasy football tournament with Women in Fantasy Football.
Yeah.
So hit that link, buy some raffle tickets. You can buy as many as you want. It all goes towards a good cause, and you have a chance to win yourself a pretty sweet jersey.
When does this raffle end, Josh?
Next Wednesday.
Okay.
So you have 1 week.
Okay. How many raffles are we doing? Because are there more?
We have one more next month.
Okay. And when does that one end? I have a reason for this question.
That'll be week 17, I believe.
Okay. That'll probably be the one I have to do it. I just don't know whose name it's going to be in. So this year for the Listener League, I am going to enter raffle tickets for them to just as my charity donation. So it's going towards Women in Fantasy Football and whatever charity, but it's also giving them a chance to win the jersey. I'm doing that for the Listener League.
Very cool.
So
that's a pretty sweet jersey too, Ryan.
All right, cool. I'm excited. I mean, I'm going to win the Listener League. So second place is going to have a pretty cool jersey. We got Ront, AJ Brown, Roma Dunze, Teteroa McMillan. We need 2 out of the 3. Josh, I'm benching Roma Dunze this week. I was already down on him. I love Teteroa McMillan. He's a high volume target. And I was shocked to find out he was a top 10 fantasy wide receiver. That was a fun part of the show a couple days ago. But AJ Brown, I like this week, Josh, with Devontae Smith a little banged up.
Yeah, I'm fine sitting Rome out of this trio.
Joseph, we dropping Mooney for Higgins. Mooney and Kirk Cousins seem to have some sort of connection. If I need to play someone this week, Josh, I'm going Mooney. But over the long run, I do still prefer Higgins.
Yeah, once Drake London comes back, we're not talking about Darnell Mooney that much. But yeah, that's if fair. You need somebody for this week, it's Darnell Mooney. 2
running backs. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Kyle Monangai, Kenny Gainwell. So I'm definitely going Jacobs. To me, it's down to Saquon or Gainwell, Josh, and I'm going to go Saquon.
Yeah, it's the first 2, Saquon and Jacobs.
Yep. Stick with your studs. Justin Jefferson or Stephon Diggs. I think we know Josh's Andrew our answer, and would we put Waddle over both? We're definitely putting
Waddle, Diggs, and JJ. That's
and I'll actually I'll buy in with Josh on that, and I'll go with that too. But I'll be honest, I have my worries about Stephon Diggs too. I need to see a bounce back there as well. Alex Thomas, do we like this trade? Bijan, and I'm guessing this is
Quentin Johnston.
Quentin Johnston for CD and Drake London. Do we think Drake London plays again? Josh, I understand you're getting 2 stud wide receivers. I kind of would need to know more of Alex's roster because you are getting an alpha running back. But the fact of the matter is this: Quentin Johnston is worthless. So you are getting 2 very good players for 1 very good player. I'm probably going to go the CD and Drake London side of this.
Oh yeah, I'm taking the stud wide receivers. The second part of this question: do we think Drake plays again? Look, we're not doctors. We have no freaking idea. Yeah, it could very well end up being, if they lose to the Jets, maybe they just consider shutting them down. Like, just kind of letting Kirk Cousins just play it out and see
but it's
what
not
happens.
earth-shattering to turn Bijan Robinson into CeeDee Lamb either.
No,
like,
absolutely not.
Yeah.
But even if Drake doesn't play, like Bijan for CD is perfectly fair. So
yep. Quincy has Sutton. Would we drop Alec Pierce for Franklin? I would. Franklin, I think, is in
there's
line
more
to take over that
consistency
role.
with Franklin.
Yep. Falcons D, Chargers D. I had mentioned that Falcons were top 10 for me. I think the Chargers are just outside of that. I'm going with the Atlanta Falcons, Josh. I understand everybody wants to get in on this because of how bad the Raiders are. The Chargers defense has not done much at all this season.
Yeah, it's Falcons for me. You want the pressures.
Yep, and they are getting after the quarterback. Roma Dunze or Michael Pittman for Frosty. It's Michael Pittman. I am down on Roma Dunze this week.
Yep, it's Pittman for me as well. Even in a tough matchup, he scored a touchdown last week. So,
and those Eagles fucking corners, man, are no joke, Frosty. Marcus over on Twitch. Devin Neal, Trey Benson, both on waivers. Would you pick them up for Kyle Monangai, Andre Yoshivas, or Kenny Gainwell? Josh, if you're not playing Yoshi this week, Yoshi is droppable. I would go get either one of these running backs. I'm probably going to go after Benson and then Neal.
That's how I would rank them too. I'm not high on Benson rest of the season, but we have no idea what Devin Neal is.
Yep.
And we have no idea what his role is going to be. At least we know what Trey Benson's role is going to be. So even in tough matchups, he'll see some level of volume. So yeah, I'm fine dropping Yoshi for Benson.
Yeah, unless you need a wide receiver this week, and then Yoshi's Correct. The better play, and don't make your team better or worse just to go get a running back. Before we go, says he's back after hearing the JJ talk. He feels like O'Connell is going to scheme JJ open in a losing matchup. Can we rank these flex plays, assuming Amari and Hampton plays? So we have 5 players here, Josh. Okay, I saw the number 4. I thought he was going to start 4 of them. He just wants us to rank these 5 plays. So it's JJ McCarthy. It's Justin Jefferson, Quentin. Oh my goodness. Justin Jefferson, Xavier Worthy, Quentin Johnston, Kareem Hunt, Omari and Hampton. And this is assuming Hampton plays. To me, that moves Hampton to the front of the list. I know you hate Justin Jefferson, Josh. I hate these other 3 players enough, but I'm still going to go Hunt because of the goal line work. So I'm going to go Hampton, Hunt, JJ, Worthy, QJ.
I would flip QJ and Worthy.
And that was my biggest debate of that question. So
yeah, that's how I would do that. Look, I get it. Kevin O'Connell's been scheming JJ open. Still doesn't fucking matter. He's scoring less than 10 fantasy points. Literally 3 weeks ago, stat line, 12 targets. That's scheming him open. 4 catches, 37 yards. The week after, 9 targets, throwing him the football, 5 catches, 61 yards.
Yeah, the quarterback play is just awful.
That's what I'm saying. Last week, 6 targets. Very down week. That was actually tied for his lowest target amount this season, way back in week 2 against Atlanta. He also only saw 6 targets, 4 catches, 48 yards. He's averaging less than 10 fantasy points per game. There's no upside right now. And he hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 weeks. He's only scored 2 touchdowns on the season.
Quincy, we got this for you earlier. We were unanimous Lamar. Josh was already low on Purdy. I didn't even realize that, but I'm never that high on Purdy, which actually leads perfectly into Joseph's question. I am a Ricky Pearsall hater, plain and simple. I don't love Brock Purdy. I don't love the matchup against Cleveland. Josh, I would start Tyler Algier here.
I have zero issue against it. Yeah, they feed him red zone touches. He's out touching Bijan Robinson in the red zone.
Yep.
So even if he only gets 4 carries for 11 yards, falls in the end zone, he's going to score more points than Ricky Pearsall. Plain and simple.
There you go. Let's take a quick break for Stream of the Week. We'll finish the show up with some Thanksgiving predictions and your chat questions. If you guys have never tuned into Stream of the Week before, I give you my top 3 plays, one at quarterback, one at tight end, one at defense, all available in 50% of ESPN leagues as of this morning when waivers was run. I do just my top picks on the show. Tomorrow I have an article with a top 5 at each position. Last week, I was pretty good, except for the defense. You're going to actually hear 2 of the names again, because guess what? Jacoby Brissett nor Juwan Johnson moved up above 50% ownership, and I think they're great plays, so we're running it back in week 13. Here we go. Week 13 Streams of the Week, all available in about 50% of ESPN leagues. I am going to run it back with Jacoby Brissett taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not sure what Jacoby Brissett has to do to prove himself to fantasy managers. He is the QB5 since he's taken over as a starter, and a top 5 play against this week against a Tampa Bay team that gives up the most points to quarterbacks over the last month. I'm running it back at tight end as well. Jawan Johnson gets the Miami Dolphins. Johnson was pretty boring last week, but he did see 7 targets. He caught 6 of them, and Miami actually gives up the most touchdowns to tight ends over the last 5 weeks. If you add a touchdown to what Jawan Johnson did last week, he's a top 3 tight end. And on defense, I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, Cam Ward is getting better for the Tennessee Titans, but Jacksonville is getting after the quarterback, and they're forcing turnovers. Tennessee is allowing the 3rd most points to defense, including 4 sacks and 1 turnover on average per game. Those are my streams of the week this week. Do you trust any of them? Are we going to be thankful after week 13? Let us know in the comments. Full article available tomorrow. Boom.
You had me at Jacoby Brissett.
I was appalled when I saw that he was still at a 46% rostership on ESPN.
Dumb.
Jawan Johnson makes sense. He's boring.
People don't like winning.
Yeah.
That's what I've come to the conclusion of. They overthink all the time.
Go get Jacoby Brissett. If you were playing on ESPN right now, 54% of you, he's available in your league as we speak. Back to the chat, Josh, and we'll finish up with the Thanksgiving Day game. Ugh. Bayonne Jeff and a half PPR. He has Tyler Warren and Rondé Gadsden. Pick 1. Josh, Rondé Gadsden, when I was moving people up and down my rankings with everything going on with the Chargers, fell out of my top 12 this week. I'm going Tyler Warren.
Yeah, it's Tyler Warren. It's not particularly close.
Bayonne, you're a new name, so I'll quickly break down for you. We predicted a rough go for Rondé Gadsden when the Chargers kept losing offensive linemen. That proved right before their bye. And now you throw in the Raiders. I know they suck, are really good against tight ends. And I think it's going to be a rough go for Rondé Gadsden yet again this week. Alex Thomas gives us the full roster, says he's stacked and trying to start secure a ship. Let him know how he can improve. He has CMC, JT, and Bijan Rob. Dude, you don't need to improve. Olave, MHJ, Kittle, and then Herbert and Brissett. So you're in a similar quarterback situation to me. Start Jacoby Brissett. That's how you improve. Josh, the only thing you could say this team might need, and I'm nitpicking here, is a true alpha wide receiver. But when you have those 3 running backs, it doesn't matter. This is a perfect roster for me.
Honestly, I think you could probably take Bijan and turn him into CeeDee Lamb, turn him into George Pickens. Like, maybe somebody needs a quarterback. Throw, pair Herbert with Bijan and go get Pickens or something. Like,
see, my thing is, if you have to start 5, which it looks like he does, I don't see the value in that trade. To me, I'd rather just keep starting Bijan.
Why? What's Bijan doing lately?
I mean,
he's losing. He's losing touchdowns to Tyler Algier.
You're not wrong. I still think Bijan's the best player, but there is something to say about going after George Pickens plus for Bijan Robinson, because I think you can get George Pickens plus, and Pickens is outplaying him. I'll give you that, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. He's a top 5 running back. That's what he is currently this season. He's averaging 20.4 fantasy points.
Yeah,
but it's been tough sledding. Like, for everything that you see Tyler Algier doing, you're just like, why did you spend a top 5 draft pick or a top 10 draft pick on
Bijan
Robinson when
you're
just giving the ball to somebody else? Like, it does not make any sense to me. The last 3 weeks, Tyler Algier has 3 rushing touchdowns. Why?
Yeah, can't deny that, which is why we would start him over Ricky Pearsall. Frosty, BTJ, or Pittman. I'm interested in BTJ. Pittman is a far safer option. I'm going Michael Pittman.
Oh, yeah. Pittman, easily.
I'm not going this far with Shadur Sanders. I do not hate this kid, but he shouldn't be considered in any non-Superflex league.
Yeah, Superflex is the only league that would remotely make sense to pick up Shadur Sanders, because right now he is a starting quarterback. But here's the thing. If you go beyond the box score and actually watch the tape, he
was saved by a 60-yard scamper by his
like he could have easily had 3 interceptions that game. Like,
well, there was this thing that came out today, Josh. Did you see where JJ McCarthy had a higher QBR than Shadur Sanders because of however the fuck ESPN calculates their QBR?
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you can look at all the different metrics, all these little things, whatever. I mean, look, at the end of the day, he got the win, so kudos. But the wide receivers on this team are terrible. They're dog shit. He got a couple of deep shots. He got the one to Jerry Jeudy. He got the big one to Isaiah Bond, the 50-yarder. But when Jerry Jeudy does stupid shit and fumbles the ball afterwards, that's what you get. Like this is Cleveland in a nutshell. This offense is play good defense and run the football. Shedeur Sanders' greatest strength is handing the football off to Quinshon Judkins.
If Shedeur Sanders is some version of the current Aaron Rodgers, 202. The current Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, I was about to say.
Football. Jesus Christ, man. 202. I'm not mad at what that kid is doing with that. We were begging for something like that for this Browns offense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, his job is don't lose the game.
Exactly.
That's his job. But careless throws, would-be picks. He did throw one. Like I said, could have very easily thrown three. He kind of got lucked out on that one. There's definitely some stuff to clean up. And I'm not saying all of this because I'm a Shedeur hater by any means, but the way that some people in the media talk about him was that he should have been the second round pick or second overall pick, that he was, ready to play day one. And that was never the case.
It was not. I'll give you that.
He holds the ball way too long. He thinks he's more athletic than he actually is, to where he can evade pressure. Like, I'm actually surprised that he only took one sack.
Yeah.
That's a testament to the Raiders not having a pass rush outside of Max Crosby.
I'm going to also throw another guy under the bus who we've been going at lately. Every fucking time I watch Caleb Williams on third down, I wonder how this man is a quarterback in the NFL. I swear, every time red zone cuts to him, he is fucking something up on third down. It is ridiculous. Yeah, just throwing that out there. Day on the Water, just dropping in for a happy Thanksgiving. Appreciates the chat. We appreciate you watching the show. We appreciate each and every one of you folks. We're getting close to wrapping this thing up. We're going to talk about our Thanksgiving Day predictions. If you have any final questions, throw them in there. Jay jumps in and says, "Why am I picking on the Bucks? Is stating stats and facts picking on your defense now, Jay?" And secondly, I learned it from watching you. You told me this was a terrible defense, and I believed every word that you said. Josh,
I didn't need to believe it. I see it.
That's true too. It's Thanksgiving. I decided to do one prop from every game, and you decided to match that energy. I will remind folks, Josh can click a link if he can real quick. We do have a promo code with Underdog. If you guys have happened to have never played over there, if you use promo code WOFF, that stands for Women of Fantasy Football, our partnership site, you will get $1,000, up to $1,000 in bonus cash based on your opening deposit, and a free pick when you're setting up your initial deposit. So promo code WOFF if you were signing up for Underdog with the first time. Josh, I picked one from every game, and you followed suit, and you did everybody a favor, and we went with the opposite teams so they can do game by game if they want to do. So let's go game by game here, Josh. So we have the first game of the slate is Green Bay at Detroit. Who do you got in that one?
So the pick I'm going with is Christian Watson higher than 25.5 yards for the longest reception. He is the deep threat in this Packers offense. Not going to lie, 25.5 definitely feels a little high. I would probably scale it back to maybe like 21, 22.5. But you know what? It's Thanksgiving. Let's have some fun. But yeah, like he's the guy that's getting downfield. Matthew Golden's still questionable. Again, it's Toyotathon. It's Jordan Love season. I'm just saying. This is the kind of game that the Lions lose. They've won like once on Thanksgiving in the last 11 years.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a much more competitive game than we saw against the Giants last week, though that was a competitive game. Don't get me wrong. And it went to overtime, so I don't know exactly what I'm saying there. But what I am trying to get at is I think we're going to see Jared Goff throw a little bit more. He's averaging about 240 yards per game. I'm going to go with higher than 241.5 yards. This is a 49.5 point over under. It's a close spread. That tends to mean you're going to see more throwing out of the quarterbacks. I think it is a good Jordan Love game. I think it's a good Jared Goff game.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I think there's going to be a lot more offense in this matchup versus when they played in week one.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a big-time defensive matchup. So.
We technically just saw it with the Eagles and Dallas. Unfortunately, we saw one half of offense from each team last week, but that was a week one game that was kind of a dud. That was much better when we saw it more recently. Second game of the slate is the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Dallas. Josh, what do you got here?
I'm going CeeDee Lamb higher than 79.5 receiving yards. Squeaky Will gets the grease. That's really what this boils down to. All the talk heading into this game was CeeDee Lamb can't catch the football. He's having issues with drops. Look, Dak Prescott knows how to get his guys the football. That's what he's going to do here with CeeDee Lamb, because the only way that CeeDee Lamb gets back on track is if he sees targets, plain and simple. Yep. So I like the 79.5. You know, again, good defenses can slow down wide receivers. Eagles have a really good defense, and CD Lamb in their first matchup still went for over 100 yards. Like, I'm not worried about KC and, them possibly putting Trent McDuffie on Lamb, who, tends to play more out of the slot anyway. Give me CD Lamb over 79.5.
For a lot of the same reasons I like Jared Goff, I like Patrick Mahomes in this one. I think Dallas, and Josh and I have talked about this earlier in the show, has stepped up their game against running backs. So I think Mahomes is going to have to throw yet again. He is averaging, I think, about 271 yards per game. He only needs to beat 267.5 in this one. I think he beats that easily against Dallas, probably hits 3 Bills. Give me higher Patrick Mahomes passing yards, 267.5.
Makes sense to me.
There we go. And the final game of the night, the one that everybody is waiting for, Josh's game of the week. Cincinnati Bengals travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Josh, what do you got?
I love how we both kind of went with more obscure things that you can bet on for player props on Underdog.
Well, I certainly wasn't going QB passing yards in this.
Yeah, right. I'm taking Jamar Chase higher than 10.5 targets. I said the stats early in our episode when we were talking about the game of the week. Jamar Chase last season against these Baltimore Ravens, 29 targets in 2 games. He blows this number out of the water.
Yeah.
Look, Jamar Chase is the wide receiver that they have right now. T. Higgins has been ruled out.
Yep.
This is Joe Burrow's first start since week 2. He wants to get comfortable. That's what he's going to do. He's going to lean on the guy that he's most comfortable with, and their relationship goes all the way back to their college days at LSU. And look, Joe Burrow got to watch on the sidelines
as Joe
Flacco target Jamar Chase over 20 times in some of these games. Good things tend to happen when you target Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
This team needs a win. Attack the Baltimore defense with Jamar Chase. That happens when you throw him the football. 10.5 targets feels low.
I believe there are certain states where you cannot get my props, so I do apologize for that. But if you are in a state where you are allowed to pick over-under on fantasy points, Mark Andrews higher than 9.95 half PPR points. It's always half PPR when you are able to make these bets. The Bengals are a walking train wreck against the tight end. He's going to score a touchdown. That's 6.5 of your points right there. It's just what else can he do with the yardage? I think Mark Andrews finding the end zone, probably getting 50 yards is going to be pretty easy in this one, Josh.
I would say if you can't bet on fantasy points, maybe take the anytime touchdown for.
And that's the one I was going to go with until I saw the fantasy points. And I'm like, yeah, I'll throw this one in there because 6.5 of this is done already.
Well, I just wanted to provide an alternative.
I like that. No, it's an absolutely perfect.
Again, the Bengals defense has allowed the most touchdowns to tight ends this season, and it's not particularly close.
Nope. So just a quick rundown of what Josh and I like for Thanksgiving. We'll knock out the chat and we will get out of here so we can all go enjoy Thanksgiving. Christian Watson, higher than 25.5 longest reception. Jared Goff, higher than 241.5 passing yards. CD Lamb, higher than 79.5 receiving yards. Patrick Mahomes, higher than 267.5 passing yards. Jamar Chase, higher than 10.5 targets. Mark Andrews, higher than 9.95 half PPR points, or anytime touchdown if you play in a state where they won't let you pick fantasy points. Caesar, random question. What do we think the Jets do at quarterback next year? I think it has to be in the draft, Josh, but I think their best bet, he's my new Jameis Winston. Go get Jacoby Brissett, for the love of God.
So I've thought a lot about this because when you look at what the Jets did this offseason when they brought in Aaron Glenn and their new GM, they basically plucked both of these guys, and including their offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrom. They plucked them all from Detroit.
Yep.
And if you remember, when Detroit first hired Dan Campbell, they sucked. They were like 3-13. They struggled again year 2, and then they finally got rolling.
Everything clicked.
But what move did they make? They traded Matthew Stafford.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Got a bevy of picks plus Jared Goff. So there's one part of me that says, look, they've got 3 first-round picks in this upcoming draft.
Yep.
If they want a quarterback out of this draft class, they have the ammunition to go get one. They have a first-time head coach. They have a first-time GM, and they have a young offensive coordinator who's still learning the ropes on calling plays, would we be shocked instead of drafting a rookie that they hit the trade market and try to find a veteran?
Yeah. Kyler Murray.
But it's Kyler that guy. I think is really.
I was going to say, I'm not saying he's the right guy, but I'm saying he's the one that's out there for the world right now.
I'm just like, I'm just kind of like looking at the scenario. I mean, look, Daniel Jones, he has played in that market. He's played really well. Maybe that's a guy they look to target.
That would be hilarious.
Right. It would be. Kyler Murray obviously would make some sense, because again, Kyler Murray has talent. It's just a matter of, maybe
are they going to build an offense around him?
Yeah. Will they build an offense around him? Correct. So I would not surprise me one bit if maybe they start, kind of feeling things around. And honestly, it could very well be a completely like outside the box thinking kind of player that nobody's thinking about. Maybe they go get it to a Tagovailoa. Maybe they go and get, there was another guy that I was literally just thinking about. I just lost it. Anyway. But yeah, like they could, some off the cuff sort of like move and they'll have the cap space after shedding Sauce and Quinnen Williams' contract.
Yeah, everything frees up for them quite a bit. Happy Thanksgiving, Andrea. Thanks for dropping in. It's Swyan. I don't know if that's what your name's supposed to be, but that's what I'm reading it as. Would you drop Addison for Worthy? I would not, Josh. I have said that I have been told from people I trust Worthy is dealing with an injury that is going to bother him for the rest of the season. This is Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce's team. I'm in no rush to go get Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, honestly, they're the same player to me right now.
Yeah.
One's hampered by bad quarterback play. The one's hampered by injury. So at least Jordan Addison is finding ways to score touchdowns every month at least. So give me Addison.
Logan over on Twitch has to bench one, Wan'Dale, Quinshon, or Jacoby Myers. I like Jacoby Myers this week. I like the other two better. I'm benching Myers in this one, John.
Yeah, I think this really boils down to settings. Like if it's full PPR, I'm going to go Myers over Quinshon. Anything less, I'll take Quinshon. But it's 100% you're starting Wan'Dale.
God, I love to hear that. South Sea. Would we play Devin Neal or JMO? Josh, I think this is floor versus ceiling. We know JMO has the worst floor of the two. But I think he has the best ceiling. So if I'm a favorite, I'm going to run Neal out there. If I'm an underdog, I'm going to run JMO out there.
Yeah, what sucks is you have to make this decision before
tomorrow.
12 because Jamison Williams plays then.
So I'm just
again, it's Dan Campbell calling the plays. I think, seeing JMO just get blanked again last week, I think he gets back on track.
Regression to the mean.
Yeah, regression to the mean. That's kind of what I think here. And again, I am not rushing to start Devin Neal until I see what his role is actually going to be without Alvin Kamara.
That's very fair. Jose Rodriguez, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Has Tedero McMillan, Michael Wilson, Darnell Mooney, Tyler Warren, Juwan Jennings, Breece Hall. So I think we're starting Breece Hall in that flex.
Breece Hall is your flex.
Yep.
That's not even a question.
And then, Josh, I am not as worried about the rest of the world about Marvin Harrison returning against this Tampa Bay defense. Sorry, Jay. I'm going Tedero McMillan and Michael Wilson.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
35 targets for Michael Wilson over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, those are Jamar Chase video game numbers right there.
Yep. So Tedero McMillan, Michael Wilson, Breece Hall is a must start.
Yep, I like it.
Wrapping up the show, D Gunner over on Twitch has to start 4 Justin Jefferson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jamison Williams, Jalen Waddle, Michael Wilson, Amarian Hampton, Woody Marks. So let's start with Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Waddle, and for me, Michael Wilson are your starts here, Josh. So you are choosing between JJ, JMO, and Amarian Hampton. The decision might be made for you on that part of that.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, if Hampton doesn't play, then obviously this boils down to Jefferson versus JMO.
I'm still going to go Jefferson, Josh. I get everything you're saying, but we saw the 4 from JMO last week as well. So,
yeah, I mean, that's fair. Jefferson's definitely a safer play than Jamison Williams. I will give you that.
What a ride, folks. It is Thanksgiving. We just started doing the show again on Thanksgiving Eve 3 years ago because of how much you guys have tuned in, guys and girls have tuned in. And I just want to quickly say we are thankful for all of you. We do this show. Josh and I do 3 90-minute shows every single week just because you guys make it fun for us. I've said for years, when this stops being fun, I stop doing it. So thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in. I don't have some big outro planned. We will be live again Saturday.
Yep, starts a different day.
Yep. So we will have a DFS show drop on Friday. That is a pre-record. We'll be live again on Saturday. We have a show on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. where all we do is answer start-sit questions. No show sheet like me and Josh had to fit into this show. It is 100% your show. Drop in there. Show the guys some love. We'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Help you get to those championships and those playoffs. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you next week.